We'll put in why I love notepaper. How's that? Everybody good with that? All right. Is there any tags people want to see in use? Something in particular?
Italics.
You want to see italics, okay? Well, what do we want to put italics in?
Do not eat no paper.
Do not eat no paper. Okay, not what do we want to put in italics. Okay, let's put italics in a paragraph. Let's start. Okay, so we want to use italics and we want to use not to eat no paper. Okay, so now that we have the paragraph, we can put in, it's important not to, and now we're going to put what is after this in italics. So we put it in a not to eat note paper. And that's all we need to put in italics, so we'll close it off. Because, why is it important not to eat note paper?
Poison.
Because it's poisonous.
Is there poison?
Because you can't eat jungles of Antarctica.
Because you can't digest it.
Let's use a strong tag here.
Ooh,
I've digested too.
Because you can't digest it. Because it's poisonous.
no, it's not. Who says it's poisonous?
This doesn't have to be
Yeah,
true,
usually
we're
it's
just making something up.
Okay. So we've used the italic tag, we opened, and we used the strong tag. You can't find it, there it is, okay. What else do we want to put in this paragraph? Yes.
Where no paper came from.
Okay, I'm looking for XHTML elements of what we want to put in. We can make stuff up pretty
What
easily.
is that?
You didn't take the first class. You're going to have to just sit, I'm afraid. You don't know what we're doing. Sorry, Jordan.
I want you to do a block quote.
A block quote? Okay. All right. We're going to put the block quote. What do we need to have in every block quote?
Well,
You want to do this?
a site?
Nope.
Don't we have to have an attribute?
No, you don't have to have an attribute. You can have a site attribute if you want. You're allowed to do that, but
A paragraph.
paragraph div, you have to have some kind of block level because block quote does not work on its own. So, what one do we want to use?
Use a div.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you make the typing bigger so we can see it?
Yeah.
Please.
I tried to do the homework,
Uh-huh.
and like I went to Notepad, and then when I put it on the Microsoft Internet Explorer, all it was just do like funny writing. That's like didn't do what I wrote.
Oh, you saved it as a text document. When you save, here, I'm going to do this right now. Go up to sample pages. We're going to call this live sample 1.html. Okay. This is important for those of you working with Notepad on Windows. Windows is sensitive to the extension you put on at the end of the document. In Linux, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care what you call it. It's going to work with it based on the actual document type. But right here, the save as type, right here, regardless of what you name your document, if the save as type is set to text, it's going to put a hidden text extension on the end of your file, and no matter what it looks like to you, it's going to be a text document which it will not open with Internet Explorer. And so if you change this to all files, you'll see not only will it let me save, but it's also going to show us non-text documents that are in this folder as well. And I'm going to change this to Unicode. If you're working in Windows, this is good, not a big deal.
Unicode?
Unicode. When the files are being saved, you have to determine what types of characters it's actually going to save to disk. Unicode is the universal standard, works a little bit better, not a big deal either way.
So you have to change like both the titles, so you can't just like type in the site HTML.
Right,
Save it.
because what it does is it overrides you, and what it'll give you is, if I didn't change this to all files, if I left that as text, the name of the file, the actual name of the file, would be livesample1.html.txt. Only when you look at it, it won't show you the .txt. It'll only show you the .html. So you'll think, oh, I got .html, but it's not, and it will read it as if it's a text file. Save that. Okay. Is this better? Can you read this, Ashley? Okay. All right. Now, block quote. What What block level tag do we want to use in here? Anybody? Line level tag.
First you have to have
We have to have a block level tag. Block level tags are paragraph, division, pre, division? Div, I was walking to the store and happened upon some notebook paper. Thought that it looked tasty. Some. Been in the Okay. So does that help you with the block quotes? We have to, when working with a block quote, you have to open the block quote and then you have to put in a block level tag to be quoted. So paragraph, div, pre, or you can use a heading, which would be really weird, but you can. And then close the block level and close the quote. And you can use more than one block level. If you wanted to have a couple paragraphs inside a block quote, you can keep putting new paragraphs in. And you could have page after page of quotes if you wanted to.
But you have to close out the previous paragraph in order to open the block quote.
You must, yes,
Okay.
yes. The block, you can't enclose block quotes within, or you can't enclose blocks within blocks. You can't have a paragraph within a paragraph.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of, if you think about it, it just doesn't make any sense. You can't picture what it would do.
Okay.
Okay, any other tags that people are wondering about or want to see in action? Is there anything anybody's kind of having a question about that you just want to see me put up? Lisa?
Do it.
Pre? Okay. Well,
I was gonna say hyperlink.
hyperlink. Oh, okay. We'll do a hyperlink in a pre-formatted bit of text. Okay. I know. Let's put some statistics about notebook paper pre-formatted. So, best thing to do with pre, I think this works really well. Just do the pre and go on to the next line, because otherwise you're going to get confused by the indentation, because it's not going to see the indentation the same way you do, just because the pre tag's in the way. So if we start on a fresh line, we've got the pre. We're going to put let's see. Okay.
color of notebook
Or
paper. Wide
state.
rule with color rule.
Loose and dangerous.
I can't do it.
Who came up with this idea? Hey, it's tough doing this. Bless you.
Do you have tissues right now? Do you need tissues?
Now, when this prints out, will there be lines or will it look just like this?
It will look exactly like this.
Okay.
Because it was the pre-formatted.
Yes, because it's pre-formatted, it's going to appear exactly the way you type it, as far as the number of letters, the capitalization, the spacing, all that. What it doesn't do is it doesn't take the font, it doesn't take the anything that you do. That won't come through. But the letters, exactly as you put them in with the spaces and the white space, is all going to be there. And as soon as we close out the pre, we stop getting the white space again. But as long as the pre tag is open, white space applies.
What's the pre-tag?
PRE. This is the pre-tag right there. It stands for pre-formatted.
Like the dotted lines, those aren't white space though, so it has.
The dotted lines are not white space, but with the pre-tag, white space counts. That's what makes pre-pre, is that it's going to count all the white space, all the carriage returns.
Can you change the it's causing us to big apostrophe S? So it's
Oh,
I can't, I'm stuck on it, I can't get off the page.
I didn't even know this.
all right. Everybody sing the possessive song. If you want to be possessive, it's just ITS. But if you want to make a contraction, it's IT apostrophe S. You don't remember that as the way to know how to do it. Nope, it was a one-time performance. Sorry.
And I have it on tape.
So if you'd like to see it again, you have to buy the tape.
That from Schoolhouse Rock.
It's actually from homestarrunner.com.
Oh. I wonder what that one is. I haven't seen that one yet.
Almost there.
April was a busy month.
It was. It's due to the end of the school year.
Oh,
Kids are getting antsy. They've been staring at the paper all year.
Chemicals.
Oh my gosh, you have to add it.
I'm not going to add it.
What's
Okay.
next?
What is next? That's the question. What else does someone want to see?
Subscription.
Subscription. Give me a usage example. Somebody.
Warning, Surgeon General has proven that paper is not
If you were gonna write
No, his was better.
chemical formula, you would put like C6H12.
Yeah, okay. The oh boy. All right. No, we can do this.
What's the tag for
You can make
We're gonna
up
put
the
it-
chemical
yeah.
formula for notebook paper.
Yeah, I'm going to. There should be a lot of carbon.
Yeah.
So.
What is sub stand for?
Subscript.
Subscript.
And what does that do again?
It's the same as a subscript on a typewriter, subscript on a word processor. It takes the text down a half step so that it's the top of what you're writing appears at the middle of the regular line of text.
Oh.
And a superscript puts the bottom of what you're writing on the middle of the
What's the superscript? Okay.
SUP, S-U-P. So they're really close. They're hard to read when you have a bunch of them together.
So it's sub.
What is sub?
It's sub. SCP.
It's sub. Yeah. Okay.
You should add arsenic.
Okay. Yes. I think anything with that chemical formula would kill you. It's like a buckyball or something with that many carbons at one spot. Okay. Is there any other tags that we're looking for? More questions? More ideas?
Is there?
Okay. So if this is all we want to put on the paper, on the webpage, we need to close off the body, the closing body tag, and we need to close the document with a closing HTML tag. And we've already saved this once, so we can just hit save. And I will find live sample 1. Is everybody ready? Brace yourselves. Probably won't work. There'll be something wrong. There we go. Why I love notepaper.
Could you enlarge it?
No, because it's a web page. I could enlarge it by changing the settings on the browser, but it wouldn't give you a really good idea of what is happening by default. So imagine you're sitting at your computer up close.
Is there a tag for like the weird stuff at the beginning, like all that, like, can you just like type in tag and all that?
You mean the XML declaration?
Yeah.
No, it's not part of XHTML. It actually happens before the XHTML, so it's in a pre-tagged part of the page. That makes sense.
Is that for, is that like basically a universal thing?
The XML declaration?
Yeah.
Yes, the XML declaration must be used at the beginning of every page. There are times when you can use different declarations. There's a reason why it's there, but in normal web page creation, you're only going to use the ones that we're using. There's really very little call for anything else. If you're going to make web services, then you're going to use different forms of XML entirely, and in those cases, you would be using completely different declarations.
So you have to memorize the whole thing?
No, no one memorizes it. Everybody uses some kind of, if you were writing your own XML documents instead of XHTML, you would create your own ones, and you and your company would just use that one over and over.
Do you like print paper off lines all the
The tags are really easy to get if you go online to w3schools.com. They're going to have every tag and every attribute for XHTML all in one spot. And that is on these slides. If you go to the beginning of these slides, it says resources, and it says w3schools.com. They are the place. You know, the books,
Yeah,
the Castro book has all the tags in it, but the W3 Schools is really good. They've got a really good chart. And when you're going through anything from the W3 Schools, they're going to have a little chart that has STF written on the side for XHTML tags, and you have to look for the S is what means they're supported in real XHTML. Everything else is a fallback tag, and you want to avoid those, but most of them are there. So you can go through, because we're not going to cover every tag. There's going to be a couple tags we don't talk about. There's going to be a ton of attributes that we don't talk about, and the attributes are going to be where a lot of the cool stuff is. There's going to be a lot of little features you can do, like the sites and little tweaks that'll make the page that much more interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Just one question about that declaration. If you don't type that, like, is that okay? Will it still?
If you don't type it, what will happen is the browser has to guess what the page is, and it could potentially render it in any way whatsoever. It means it's not bound to do what you're telling it to do. The declaration says, this is XHTML strict 1.0, which is an incredibly precise definition of your page. If you don't tell it it's strict, it will never attempt to read it as strict. It will try to use a different set of tags and language to do it. And when it does that, you will lose flexibility, you will lose control, and you could end up with pages not showing up. So it's decently important for getting everybody able to read the same thing.
Where did you get the declaration from?
I just copied it from someone else. It's you can actually go to the W3C and you can get it from them. I got mine probably out of one of the books we have here. Over the years, I just grab them for wherever I see one.
Okay.
But they're always the same. It's a real strict definition. Katie?
Could you do the hyperlink?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Hold on, let me find a page to link to. Tag text. Okay. We'll put in a quick paragraph. Okay. The hyperlinks are done with the anchor tag, which, can you see this okay? It's a little bit hard to tell. Okay. The A tag is the anchor tag. Every anchor tag requires, is it too low?
No.
Oh, okay. Requires a hyperreference attribute, which is href. And that equals, and you have to put in the URL or the file name of what it is you want to connect to, what you're going to link to. In this case, the only thing that I have handy is a page called tagtest.html. So we will put in tagtest.html.
Why did the book call it address?
The URL.
No, but they call it like the address tag. That
you were reading the Barnes & Noble book,
Yeah.
they may not have looked it up.
Oh.
It's actually an anchor tag. They're doing away with it. It's going to be gone in XHTML2. They're going with a different tag because the whole anchor thing is really confusing and weird. But they've been using it forever, and it's an anchor. It actually anchors pages. You can use it for different things instead of links, and it actually is called an anchor in those situations. So, okay. So if we resave this, is there any questions about what I put up here? Because I know you're looking at the anchor tag.
Could we use like any document, or will we have to end it in HTML?
The name of the document is HTML. That's part of its name. So if you're looking for an HTML document and it ends in .html, then you will need it. If you're looking for, like, what? Give me an example of what you're looking
Like
for.
if I had a picture or something that I wanted, and we just had like, you know, Alicia and Katie. Could I
Okay,
link it
okay.
to that, or?
Yeah, hold on. Let's, okay. So in this case, I happen to have a picture called Cherries on Potomac. And all I have to do is put in the name of that picture.
That's it?
That's it. Just like any other file. If you were going to go to something, if you can link to things that you're not expecting. You can link to like a PDF document, or you could link to a Word document. And on your machine, it might work depending on how those programs are set up, but they're not very universal. Things like a JPEG, it'll work on everyone's browser. You pretty much don't have to worry about it. But you could link to really weird things, and depending on your machine, you can make it work. So companies will use that internally. They can say, well, every desktop in the company is the same. Word is just going to open up. So they may link to Word documents, but for the web, that's going to be a little bit weird. Okay, so if you save this, you can go back. Okay, now hopefully this will work. Here's our link to the tag test page. Go to that, and oh, that worked. Very exciting and very small. But this is on the server here, so you can look at it in your own time if you want to see the tag test. And hopefully the picture will work. Nope. I have the location wrong. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, it's in day 2. Day 2 images. Okay. There we go. Yes. Cherry blossoms on the Potomac River. Okay, so, but what we have here is not really a web page. What we have here is just a JPEG being shown in the browser. So you're not getting, there's no way to like add a title to this, there's no way to do anything to it because it's just an image as a file. And then we just link to it directly. Yes?
Would that take up a lot of, would that make your file much bigger so that when people want to open up your web page, it would take longer? You understand what
Well, the links do not affect you in that way.
Okay.
You can link to anything you want, anywhere you want, and it won't affect the page you're on any more than just typing in that amount. However, what it is you point to, if they decide to go to this picture, they have to bring down that picture. So the picture itself may take a while, but it won't affect a page linking to it.
So that's like the anchor thing.
Mhm.
That's like on the regular web pages, but it has like a related website that's not part of the web page.
Anytime you're linking to anything, anytime there's something you can click on in a web page and it will go to something, that's an anchor tag every single time. Okay, everybody ready to move on with new material? As exciting as the notebook paper related deaths are. Okay. Okay, lists. First new topic is going to be how to make lists in XHTML. We've looked at paragraphs, we've looked at headings, we've looked at divisions. I can't remember what all we covered last week. This week we're going to look at different ways that we can list items. This is something we do all the time in real life. In fact, it's one of the most handy things we do when taking notes. We make lists of things. I need to go to the store today and I need to buy this item, this item, this item, this item. There's a number of ways that we can do lists. There's three main ways. Unordered lists, which are bullet point lists, which if you're going to the grocery store, you're just going to make 20 items on a piece of paper. You don't care what order they're in. We have ordered lists, which will allow us to prioritize items, and it'll also allow us to put them into a format much like an outline. So we can create natural outlines in XHTML really easily. And we can also do a definition list, which is like a dictionary kind of page where we have something we want to define and then its definition, and those are described in the XHTML so we can work with it intelligently. All right, with unordered lists, we use the UL tag, which is for unordered lists, very easy. And this opens a block level section called an unordered list. For each item in an unordered list, we have to use the list tag, which is LI. And you can put as many list tags into an unordered list as you want, and it just becomes a really long list. Each one, default behavior is you will actually get bullet points. There's ways that we're going to talk about next week and the week after of changing the bullets, but by default you will get some type of bullets. So here's a sample that you can do with an unordered list. My favorite things in no particular order. That's what makes this important. Let's see, we have raindrops on roses, whiskers, mittens, apple strudel. Everybody likes apple strudel.
Colored ponies.
You like whiskers on hamsters?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Unordered.
Ponies.
Apparently you don't know the song. Okay, here we go. This is what it comes out to. This is just using UL for unordered lists and LI for list items. As you can see, we got bullets, and everything came out as a list, exactly as we would expect.
Can you go back to the previous page for a second? Oh,
No?
sorry.
Is that too
So
small?
you open up with a heading, close with a heading, then you put UL, and then every list item has LI/LI.
Yes, you don't have to have the heading. I do that at the beginning
Okay.
of every page just because it looks nicer.
Right.
You have to have the UL at the top and the bottom. So this is, the UL starts and ends the list.
Got it.
And then there's an LI opening and closing each item.
Okay.
And so if you're a parser that's going through this, you can say, oh, this is an item, this is an item, this is an item.
Okay.
Does it automatically do the spaces, or do you have to do that by yourself?
Which spaces?
Like the indentation?
The indentation is all done by hand. Remember, there's no, it doesn't, it's white space agnostic. So it's going to ignore that. So as we go through these samples today, I'm going to do a couple different styles of indentation. I was criticized last week that my indentation was all the same and kind of confusing. So there's a lot of standard ways to indent that all work pretty well, and you just have to find whatever works for you, what you like. Some people like lots of indentation and lots of levels. Some people like all their tags out on the left and all their content on the right. You can pretty much play with it and find what you like. For something like a list, this works really well with because you can see that the list is indented, so your eye is going to catch it really quickly in a large page. But you don't have the closing tag at the beginning. You just have it at one end, so you can see the items real simply. Ordered list. Okay, ordered lists work exactly like the unordered list. We really don't have to know anything different. In fact, all we have to do is change our opening and closing list tags to OL instead of UL, and automatically it's going to number for us. So here's our prioritized list of things we need to buy. And as you can see, this is prioritized because this is important. First, we're going to buy a lottery ticket. Then we're going to be able to buy the Ferrari, House in the Hamptons, the Armani suit, and more books on web design.
Does that encourage you gambling?
Ordered lists. And as you can see, we put nothing into that page to number these. They numbered automatically. Okay, so this is really handy. You can make a really long list, and you can go back and say, and actually I did this when I was making this. I'm like, okay, things I would want. Well, the first thing I want is a Ferrari. I put that at the top, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, it'd be funnier if I needed the lottery ticket first, because obviously I can't afford a Ferrari. So I just went back and put in a tag for that. I didn't have to change all those numbers. It numbered them automatically because I just made it the first item. So unordered lists are really handy. what's going to make them even more handy is the way that they handle nesting. In nested ordered lists, we're able to put another ordered list as a list item, which is a little bit weird. So we have the opening ordered list, and then we have its first list tag, and then we have another ordered list. And then it has its own list items. Then we close out that ordered list. These list items are part of this ordered list. And then we close out the last one. Does that make sense, everybody? Can you see that? I know it gets, once we start nesting lists, it's real easy to get lost. And this is where the indentation becomes really important, because you can see it.
Wanted the second ordered list tag confuse the computer to make it automatically close the ordered list, or do you just open
No,
it?
that actually is a really good question, and it points to why we use XHTML. XHTML requires that we provide a closing tag. Because it requires it and doesn't request it, it can assume that we mean to open another list within that list. If we were using traditional HTML, it would not know, because it wouldn't require the closing tag, and it would potentially guess that we had closed one list and started another. So that is true. Let's switch out and look at how this came out. As you can see, we now have, on my sample, I actually made it a little bit more in depth because there wasn't enough to put on them. So you're getting more here. We can see there's 3 layers of nesting here. We've got the main 1, 2, and 3 out here. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the second level. So we have that list within the list. And then we have 2 3-item lists that are both within that second list. So altogether there's 4 lists here. And you can create outlines with them. Now by default, it's going to count everything using just regular Arabic numbers, but we can later, we'll see that there's ways to alter that into regular outline format with Roman numerals, capitals, lowercase, Arabics, the way we're supposed to. Any question about nesting lists? For some reason, every time we go away, it jumps back a couple. Okay. Attributes for ordered lists. Because we're numbering in ordered lists, we need a little bit more flexibility. We are able to use the start and value attributes to modify the numbering sequence on an ordered list. This could come in handy if you wanted to put a paragraph in the middle of something and you wanted to start something back up and make it a continuation without it actually being all one list. We can, on the initial ordered list tag, we can put in a start attribute, and whatever number we put into the start attribute will be the first number we start with. So in the one we saw, it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we start with 2, we'll go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's that simple. If we need to, in each list item tag, we can have a value attribute, and we can set the particular number of that specific item. So if we wanted an ordered list that was all over the place, it started with 3, went to 5, went to 2, went to 20, we can do that. But we have to do it all manually because obviously it doesn't know what we want. Not a real common thing to do, but you can when you need to. Definition lists. These are really handy for working with anytime you need to have a lot of definitions. A lot of times you can have like a glossary page on a website. It's pretty common on a lot of websites. This is really useful for that. It takes 3 tags to do a definition list. The first tag is DL, which opens a definition list. It's just like any other list. We have to have the list encased in some tags. Then within that, we have to have a DT, which is a definition title, and we have to have a DD, which is the actual definition, or the definition. So the way this is designed to work, we have one large DL, with one DT followed by one DE, and so on as we go through the list. So if you look, this is a small piece of the sample I'm going to show. I actually added quite a few more in. But we have the DL as the main block here. And then we have a short DT that gives us XHTML. We want to know what XHTML is. And then we have in the DD tags we have its definition. And then down here, we have the same thing for CSS. It's in a DT, saying what the title is, and then the definition encased in the DD tags. I added quite a few in here. Okay, this is how it comes out. We did no formatting of our own. Everything here is formatted by the DL, DT, and DD tags. You can see that this is the block that is the definition list, and each of the definitions is held out a line above all by itself, and automatically indented is the definitions. And so it's really easy to see. If we make this window smaller, if we were to have long definitions, it's a little bit easier to see what this would be really handy. You know, if you wanted to have a little dictionary sidebar on a web page, this could come out really well. It's really easy to read it, and it didn't take any effort from us. In fact, it actually made it a little bit easier because we didn't have to think about paragraphs and keeping it all lined up and stuff. Always goes back to the same page no matter what I do.
The next time you talk about hamster whiskers, you should make it a link.
I thought about that. Okay, that's the end of lists. Due to where we're at in the time, I'm thinking maybe we want to stop early, move the break forward a few minutes. Does that look good? And then we're going to talk about images and bandwidth when we get back. Okay? Because it needs a way to reference them. If you needed to do that, there is a way, but it's going to be really simple if you do it this way. All you need is the name of the page. You don't need HTTP, you don't need any long string, and it's going to take you right there. Okay. That's where we end today. How did we do?
41 minutes.
Awesome. Any questions at this point? This is your chance to ask anything you want. Yes?
Does it make a difference if you type in .com or .org?
Yes, because they're different places.
What's org stand?
Organization. It's officially designated for nonprofits, but anyone can get one. Yes?
When are we gonna start? Like, can you put things on the webpage, like videos or pictures?
Yes. We will be getting to that early on next Friday's stuff. I want to get to the point where we had like building up to it. You'll be able to put images in links, so you can click on an image instead of clicking on text. Yes?
Do you know the website for the CIA? Like,
Yes.
Did you find that out?
CIA.gov. I go there on average about 2-3 times a week. The CIA World Fact Book is one of the coolest things online. Yes?
I'm jumping ahead, but I'm thinking about the picture part. Could you put an anchor within your webpage? And so perhaps you wrote Mr. Miller, and the link would go to your picture. So if you clicked on Mr. Miller, it would bring you to that.
Yes.
Okay?
Actually, that takes us back. If I can. La la la. 82 pages. Oh, did I go too far? Oh, there it is. Okay. Web documents and media. Images, audio, video, data, programs. These can be web pages. Nothing but a picture.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you can make, mrmiller.jpg, right? And you can make that a page all by itself and just link directly to that. And the as long as you have a browser that can handle images, it'll just show the image right there.
Okay.
Anything else? Anything else? Okay. Is it way too slow for everybody? Way too fast? Way too boring?
Wait.
Way too exciting?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I can. It does get better, trust me. What we're doing the first 2 days, we're doing the XHTML. I want to get to the point where everybody understands how to put their content onto a page. then the entire next section is about CSS. It's about taking the structure, once we have the text, and then we start adding style. This is where the design comes in. But you have to have structure, unfortunately, before you have design. Back in HTML, you didn't have to do that, but the sites looked awful. And no one could read.
One last question.
Yes.
It says week one reading. Fortunately.
Yeah, oh, yes.
online.
And I promised Dominica that I would fix that. There's 2 readings. One is chapter 3 from this book. Okay, and this is the one that's $2.99 if anybody wants to buy it, but the school has 3 copies, and it's only about 12 pages of pretty big text. So it's less than 10 minutes of reading, probably less than 5. And they sit on those shelves directly behind Attic.
You have to do your homework.
You have to do your homework.
No, see.
So that's all it says on this bottom?
No, and then it also says, in this book, which not everyone has, but I do recommend for anyone who is finding this interesting, which may be no one, but anyone who's really looking at learning web design, this is a really great book to have, both as a reference and a way to go back and look at stuff. And it's chapters 3, 4, and 5, I believe. Page 47 to 82, I know that. No, chapters 2, 3, and 4. I'm sorry. So if you can get the Castro book, if you can get a hold of a copy of the Castro book, if a couple people want to get them and share them around the class. And if you have a teacher pick this up for you at Borders, it's a 20% discount. It's not too much reading.
Really caught.
It's 22 list price, so after a teacher discount's like 17. A regular textbook is in the hundreds, 90 to 110. Normal price for a textbook. But the others are only $3, so depending on, if you're doing a lot of web design, if you're doing like, this one is $35. But we're not doing this one, it's just the one I'm because they get into the 50s pretty easy. Yes?
So if you wanted to make your own web page just for the fun of it, could you go on the internet site and kind of make it like that? Or search and start it?
Well, you can start your Notepad doing this stuff.
Like if you don't have it.
As far as, I'm not sure what you're asking.
Like, well, I don't have internet, but if you
Okay.
do it on the internet,
Mhm.
like you just, because when you go on the internet, you have like the basic page, the default page or whatever, and you have the search. Where do you go to for that?
To make a page?
Yeah.
You make a page on your local computer. Being on the internet is not really part of making a web page. Even hosting it is not.
There are certain hosting places that let you make pages,
Yes.
but don't.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
go to, now, it's been a long time since I've tried to do any of the free hosting, make your own page kind of thing. Is Angel Fire still around?
I don't know.
Is
GeoCities.
GeoCities, are they still around?
Yeah.
Really? Those places used to have these tools where you like type in your title, type in your, and it would just be like this little form you filled out, and things would look awful. So awful.
Besides that, there are a lot of bugs in there, parasites in there.
Oh,
That
okay.
when people open them up and they go into other people's computers, they have to be careful about that.
Okay.
I would say don't use any of that stuff until you're really, unless you're really comfortable and you won't want to.
Right,
then.
because you really don't get to make much. You end up with a cookie cutter looking site that, if you see anything at like Angel Fire, they look bad. People don't want to look at it. But when you're putting your first page together, it's kind of neat because you can do it really quickly. But there's nothing that you did in there so that you don't even learn anything from it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, that's a page. Woo! But you can go home and do this today. I know this part isn't very exciting, but after we hit CSS, you're going to be like, wow, I can take this stuff that I typed up and do cool things with it right away. All right. Well, we don't have to all sit here. You can go home.
The thing about not doing the reading and not doing the homework is that you will fall further and further behind in the class and not understand it, and it'll just turn into a big jumble of things that you don't understand. So doing the reading and doing the homework will help you,
The
help
reading is really
reinforce what we've
short,
done.
and the reading is covering the same material, it's just reinforcing it in a different way.
Well, then why do we need to know it if it's covering the same material?
I'll back
Because
up.
it's good to
Little,
reinforce
little,
things in
little.
different ways when you're learning.
You don't already do this, you have to go buy them.
You don't have to go buy the books. The one book is here, so, but it's the cheap one, so it might be worth buying. If you're going to do any website design, you're going to want to have a book, and not the little one that we have, the bigger one. The really big thing to do this week, because the slides really do cover quite a bit, I think. The really important thing is not so much the reading as it is doing.
I'm telling you, this dog and I are going places. I'm talking about a 3-picture deal with Warner Brothers here.
My boy, my boy. Yeah, you hear that, Scylla? We're free. I finally got a chance at a real career. I got rid of that dead